Welcome back to the Chattable podcast, where we learn real English in real life, in rich vocabulary, and feel proud. Welcome to today's episode. We're really glad to have you with us.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
So we have a very specific mission for you today. We're going to be exploring two really vivid English phrases that we pulled from our sources. We're looking at first name basis and scoop up.
Right. And it's so important to understand that today's episode is really all about the hidden cultural rules behind these words.
Exactly. It's not just a vocabulary lesson.
No, not at all. It's about the unseen power dynamics of English. We aren't just memorizing definitions here. We're really unpacking how to use language to navigate intimacy or respect authority and even handle intense competition in the real world.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I love about this. So let's jump right into the first one, breaking that formal wall with first name basis.
Let's do it.
There was this one target sentence from the source material that really stood out to me. It's just a perfect illustration of how power shifts.
Oh, the quote about the president, right?
Yes. The author wrote, "Look at you, you are now on first name basis with the former president. Joe this and Joe that instead of Mr. President."
I mean, that is just a brilliant example. It immediately highlights that contrast,
Right.
You have Mr. President, which is this heavy institutional title sitting right next to Joe, which is like the ultimate casual identifier.
It really is. And it feels like passing this secret cultural checkpoint. Because in English-speaking cultures, we use formal titles like Mr. Smith or Dr. Jones or Mr. President as a kind of verbal fence.
A verbal fence. Yeah, I like that.
Right. It maintains a very specific professional or respectful distance.
Oh, right.
So when you finally transition to a first name basis, it signals to everyone that this invisible formal wall has come down.
Exactly.
But I guess my question is, what's the actual mechanism there? Like, why is that shift so heavily guarded in our culture?
Well, it's guarded because using someone's first name isn't just a friendly gesture. It's fundamentally a claim of equal status.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. When we look at the psychological mechanics of a first name basis, it implies this newly established level of true equality or intimacy or friendship with an authority figure.
So it's not something you can just hand out to yourself.
Definitely not. It's a status that you cannot just claim. You really have to earn it. It proves to them that you've put in the time and earned their trust.
So you're moving from the outer perimeter of their professional life right into that inner circle where the verbal fence just isn't necessary anymore.
Exactly. You nailed it.
It's earned intimacy. And, the sources gave this fantastic real-world example of this from the Marvel movie sets that I think perfectly captures the anxiety of this whole process.
Oh, right. They brought up Tom Holland.
Yeah, Spider-Man actor.
Yeah.
When he first joined the Marvel movies, the sources note that he was absolutely terrified of Robert Downey Jr.
Which, makes complete sense if you think about the dynamic there.
Oh, totally. You have this 19-year-old kid stepping onto a multi-billion-dollar movie set for the first time.
Right.
And there's Robert Downey Jr., who is basically the godfather of that entire massive franchise. The power dynamic is just massively imbalanced.
Yeah. You don't just walk up to a titan of the industry and say, "Hey, Robert, nice to meet you."
You wouldn't dare.
No. The language used by a newcomer initially reflects that strict hierarchy. It's a protective measure, really. By calling him Mr. Downey or Sir, the younger actor is explicitly acknowledging that power disparity.
Right. He's showing deference to the established giant in the room.
Exactly.
And what's so interesting is that the source points out it took years of working together for them to successfully reach a first name basis. It was not automatic at all.
No, it takes real time.
Yeah. Tom Holland had to put in the time, prove his worth on set, and build an actual genuine relationship to bridge that gap. I can only imagine the awkward transition phase, too.
Oh, for sure.
You know that moment where the boss finally says, "Please call me Robert," but your brain is so wired to say Mr. Downey that saying Robert actually feels physically uncomfortable.
Yes. That discomfort is literally your brain recognizing that you are stepping across a boundary that used to be closed to you.
Wow. That's a great way to put it.
And that time factor you mentioned is just crucial. A first name basis is the reward for patience and shared experience in a high-stakes environment. It is an invitation that has to be extended by the person holding the higher status.
Okay, so that brings up a really important question about the mechanics of this. What happens if you get impatient?
Uh-oh.
Like, what happens if you try to force this intimacy too early, or maybe in the completely wrong setting? Because I see people try to fast-track relationships all the time by acting overly familiar.
It is a massive risk. And assuming familiarity before it has been explicitly granted by the other person can be absolutely disastrous.
Disastrous.
Yes. Let's look at the courtroom example the sources cited. Imagine you are standing in front of a judge.
Okay, very formal.
Extremely. A courtroom is a highly formalized environment designed entirely around rules and hierarchy. If you were to announce to the room, oh, the judge and I are on a first-name basis.
Oh man, calling the judge Steve.
Exactly. It wouldn't make you look like a VIP. It would be seen as a profound insult to the court.
But why is it such an insult, though? Like, if you actually do know the judge outside of work, why is it so wrong to bring that casualness into the room?
Because in that specific setting, the title is the whole point. By calling the judge Steve or Sarah in the courtroom, you are psychologically attempting to pull them down from their institutional pedestal to your level.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it is a verbal power grab. You are stripping away the authority of the black robe and the bench, and you're reducing them to just a regular person. The formality is required to show respect not just for the individual, but for the entire institution of the law.
That makes so much sense. It's like you are trying to bypass the rules that everyone else has to follow by flexing your personal connection.
Exactly.
It reminds me of someone walking into an acquaintance's house for the very first time, not saying hello, and just opening their refrigerator to grab a snack.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
You're acting like you own the place before you've even been invited to sit down.
You are assuming a level of access that hasn't been offered yet. And, the sources also highlight another critical area where you must be incredibly careful with this.
What's that?
Cross-cultural interactions.
Oh, right. Because not every culture treats the first name as a casual, fun thing.
Precisely. You should never force a first-name basis with colleagues or clients from cultures that maintain strict hierarchical naming rules.
Right.
If they haven't explicitly invited you to use that casual tone, using their first name doesn't make you look friendly or approachable. It violates their cultural norms.
Yeah, it signals that you're either ignorant of their customs or that you just simply don't respect them.
Exactly. Instead of building trust, you are actively damaging it.
So it's a really delicate, deliberate balance. You want the intimacy and the smooth working relationship, but you cannot demand it. Establishing a first-name basis is all about navigating power and trust, slowly and respectfully.
It's a slow burn.
It is. But here is the reality of the modern corporate world. It doesn't always have time for slow trust.
No, it really doesn't.
Sometimes power is exercised ruthlessly, instantly, and with zero patience. Which brings us perfectly to the second phrase we found in the sources.
Right, a phrase that is all about high-speed, aggressive acquisition.
Yes, scoop up.
It's a complete pivot in energy, isn't it? From the slow build of a relationship to a rapid, almost violent economic maneuver.
Totally. I was reading this piece in the source material about specialized high schools in New York, and the author used this phrase that just captures modern competition so well.
Let's hear it.
They wrote, Stuyvesant and other specialized high schools scoop up some of the best public school students in New York City every year.
Scoop up. It's such a visceral, evocative phrase.
It really is. And I love the literal imagery here. Like when I hear scoop up, I immediately picture an ice cream scoop. Or even better, I think of a pelican diving down into the ocean to catch fish.
The pelican metaphor is fantastic for this.
Right.
Because it perfectly explains the physical mechanics of the action. Think about how a pelican eats. It doesn't hover over the water, carefully inspecting and selecting one individual fish with a pair of tweezers.
No, it just goes for it.
Exactly. It drops out of the sky, opens its massive beak, and blindly absorbs a massive volume of water to trap absolutely everything inside.
Wow, yeah.
It is a sweeping downward and upward motion designed to gather a massive amount of something all at once.
And it happens in the blink of an eye. So how does that physical mechanism translate into the way we use it in English for competition?
Well, when an organization or a person scoops up resources, they are utilizing that exact same preemptive volume-based tactic.
They aren't just acquiring something at a normal pace then.
Not at all. They are rapidly and aggressively acquiring the absolute best options on the market before anyone else even has a chance to realize what is happening. It is a preemptive strike.
Right, you want to get the prize before the person next to you can even reach for it.
Ex-
So Stuyvesant High School isn't just sending out polite acceptance letters. They are structurally designed to absorb the top-tier talent of the city in one sweeping motion.
Right, leaving the regular public schools to figure out what to do with whoever is left.
Wow.
The phrase is heavily used to describe intense competition where hesitation means losing. You see it in education, like the Stuyvesant example. You see it constantly in collegiate and professional sports recruiting.
Oh, sure, scooping up athletes.
Yep, you see it in aggressive consumer behavior, like shoppers scooping up limited inventory deals on Black Friday. And of course, you see it in the cutthroat world of corporate business acquisitions.
Which brings us to the real-world tech example from the sources. And it might be the most competitive environment on the planet right now, the artificial intelligence sector.
Oh, the AI arms race. Talent in that specific sector is incredibly scarce and unbelievably valuable.
Right. So the source explains the situation with an AI startup called Inflection. They were going through a major leadership change, things were a bit chaotic, and Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella saw an opening.
And he didn't wait around.
No, he didn't just casually post some job listings on LinkedIn and wait for Inflection's engineers to apply. The source notes that he instantly swooped in to scoop up their top researchers and engineers.
That is the ultimate corporate pelican dive.
It really is.
Notice the mechanics of what Microsoft did there. They didn't interview individuals over a 6-month period. They essentially opened their beak and swallowed the core of the engineering department whole.
Just massive volume instantly.
That is the essence of scooping up. It is a fast, decisive business maneuver to absorb top-tier talent, while the competition, whether that is Google or Meta or anyone else, is still trying to figure out what happened.
It's aggressive.
Yeah.
And it clearly implies getting something highly desirable successfully.
Very successful.
But hold on, I want to test the boundaries of this phrase. Because I feel like it could get weird.
Okay, let's test it.
Since scooping up just means grabbing something great before someone else does, could I use it for any positive acquisition?
Like finding a life partner. For example, could I say, I was at a coffee shop and I scooped up my husband? Or does that sound as terrible as I think it does?
I am so glad you brought that up, because we absolutely need to establish the strict limits of this phrase. The short answer is, it sounds terrible. You cannot say that.
Why not? He's a great catch.
I'm sure he is. But scoop up fundamentally implies a fast, almost blind, consumer-like acquisition. Because of that, it completely fails when you apply it to slow, deeply personal, or mutual choices.
Right.
As the sources clearly state, you do not scoop up a husband or a wife.
Yeah, it strips all the romance out of it. It makes it sound like he was the last television on the shelf at Best Buy, and I threw him in my shopping cart so the guy behind me couldn't have him.
Precisely. It removes all agency and mutual choice. You are reducing a human relationship to an aggressive retail transaction.
Definitely not a good look.
No. But there is another boundary that is even more important to respect. The sources warn that this phrase is entirely inappropriate and way too casual for serious, dangerous, or tragic situations. Give me an example of what you mean by that.
Well, let's say there is a terrible natural disaster, like a flood or an earthquake. If a helicopter team flies in to save people stranded on a roof, the rescue workers do not scoop up the survivors.
Oh, wow. Yeah, saying they scooped them up sounds incredibly flippant.
It does. It completely diminishes the horror of what those people just went through.
It really trivializes the danger and the bravery involved in that rescue.
Exactly. Scoop up lacks the necessary gravity for life or death situations. In those grave scenarios, you must use words that carry the appropriate weight and respect.
Like what?
Rescue workers rescue people. They evacuate survivors. They pull them to safety. You save scoop up for aggressive, competitive, or consumer-driven contexts.
So you scoop up a great deal on a car, but you do not scoop up a family from a burning building.
Exactly right.
That makes perfect sense. The emotional weight of the vocabulary really has to match the reality of the situation.
It's all about context.
Right. So looking at everything we've covered in this episode, we've explored two wildly different ends of the spectrum when it comes to human interaction and power.
We really have.
We have seen how establishing a first-name basis relies on slowly, carefully, and respectfully dismantling formal social walls to build genuine trust and equality.
A process that requires immense patience and an understanding of institutional respect, whether you are on a Hollywood movie set or standing in a courtroom.
Exactly. And then on the flip side, we've seen how scoop up is the exact opposite. It is all about the fast, preemptive, aggressive mechanics of grabbing top talent or the best deals in a competitive market before your rivals can even blink.
And for you, listening to this episode right now, the ultimate takeaway is that mastering these phrases isn't just about sounding fluent or memorizing a dictionary definition.
It's so much more than that.
True fluency is about matching the exact right energy and the exact right psychological mechanism to your cultural setting.
Right. Knowing when you need to be patient and deferential with a formal title, and knowing when you need to be ruthless and aggressively scoop up an opportunity.
That is how you avoid embarrassing yourself and truly master the unspoken rules of the language.
Well said. Which actually leaves me with one final thought, something for you to really ponder that violently clashes these two concepts together.
Oh, I like the sound of this.
We just talked about Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
If scooping up talent is this aggressive, fast-paced, cutthroat business move where you basically swallow an entire team of engineers whole,
Right.
and reaching a first-name basis requires slow, earned trust over time.
Yes.
How long does it actually take for those highly sought-after inflection engineers that Microsoft just scooped up to be on a first-name basis with Satya Nadella?
Oh, wow. That is a brilliant question.
Right, because you were acquired in a flash, but now you are at the bottom of a massive corporate hierarchy.
Yeah.
And a fascinating clash of rapid acquisition speed versus the slow burn of corporate intimacy.
It really is something to think about as you navigate the modern workplace.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this episode. Keep using real English in real life. Keep enriching your vocabulary, and we will catch you next time.
Thanks for listening.